This video contains disturbing stories shared by anonymous users on Reddit. Viewer discretion is advised. These stories may include mentions of violence, death, or unsettling situations. All content is intended for entertainment and commentary purposes only. The creator does not condone or support any harmful behavior described. What's the creepiest thing you've heard someone casually admit? Many years ago, I had a relationship with a gal. She was around 19 to 20, I was 21. She also had a young child around 2 years old and lived with her mother. While driving her home after a date, she asked for my opinion on something that blew my mind. Her mother was seeing some guy and wanted to have a baby with him, but was unable to have any more children. The boyfriend suggested that the daughter be a surrogate mother. They asked my girl if she would be the surrogate. She agreed. I asked if they had already looked into in vitro fertilization. She said they were going to do it the old-fashioned way. I had to get this straight. Your mom's boyfriend wants to duck you and your mom until you get pregnant, and all three of you are okay with this, and you want to know if I will stick around? She said yes. I dropped her off and never talked to her again. There's gotta be some deeper duct thing going on there for her to have found that dynamic acceptable. Similar-ish story. I volunteered at a teen pregnancy group at an inner-city high school nearby. A girl came in for a pregnancy test and it was negative. She told us she was disappointed. We asked why, and she shared that her brother recently died and her mom was encouraging her to have a baby so she could take care of it. I was shocked and so sad for her. I was a delivery driver's assistant, and on one trip, he told me that as a kid, he used to go around his neighborhood, grab people's cats and dogs and put them in a sack and throw them in the river. Said it was fun. When we got back to work, I said I didn't like going on deliveries with him and he needed a new assistant. The boss who approved this was my dad, so that is the only time I've used nepotism to my benefit at work. That guy is either a psychopath or a genius who found a foolproof way to not get stuck with the boss's kid. Someone legitimately showed me CP once on their phone. He said, "Is this normal in your country?" And I said, "That's immoral and illegal in most countries," and promptly left. This happened to me at 15 years old from my 20-year-old boyfriend. One day, he just decided to divulge his massive CSA collection. Kids much younger than I was. I told him he deserved to have his face shredded with a cheese grater and left. Never spoke to him again. I was too embarrassed and woefully naive to tell anyone at the time, let alone LE. I've twice filed anonymous reports tips over 20 years later, after I saw he lived in my suburb with his wife and 5 young kids. Nothing's come of it, unfortunately. One of my biggest regrets is not telling anyone when it happened. Also, his wife knows of these allegations. She was told by his ex-wife, baby mama, who found it, but the wife doesn't believe it. When I was in trade school, one of my clients told me that her dad used her to lure a kid into his car and then murdered the kid. Just said it like the weather. What the actual duck? That's insane. Did you leave immediately? I finished the service, but afterward I asked my teacher if we should file a report. She said that because the client was not in her right state of mind, and because her father was long dead, it was pretty much inadmissible. A guy bragged about the fact that there was blood on the sheets after he raped our mutual friend's younger sister. Fortunately, he's now in jail, though not on anything to do with that or the other assaults be admitted to. Just DUI shit. Bet he serves longer with a DUI charge anyway. Disgusting. A former acquaintance got 10 years for assaulting a toddler, with multiple eyewitnesses catching him in the act. He served just 6 of those 10. The fact he's on the streets is a miscarriage of justice. My niece was assaulted at 2. Her attacker got 7 years but got out in 3. There is no justice in this world. When I was 14, I was admitted to a psych ward for a 72-hour hold. The hospital was small enough that it put teens and little kids together, so it was a mixture of kids my age and some really young kids. Anyway, there was a boy there around 5 years old. I kind of felt bad for him. He was really shy and nervous. And sometimes parents would just claim their kid was crazy to avoid taking care of them, so I thought he might have been one of those kids. He was coloring in the main area, so I sat down and asked him if he knew why he was there. He pulled the lollipop out of his mouth and said, "I stabbed my sister in the eye with scissors," like he was telling me about the weather. I still think about that kid sometimes. I really hope he got help. Surprised he was allowed to have a lollipop. My best friend's girlfriend told us her mom and mom's boyfriend were shot in the head while talking in his car. The crime was all over local news. Her father was a police detective. She 100% knew he did it and told investigators as much, as did several other family members. He was never even called in as a suspect and the crime never solved. Department just buried it. We investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing. that they assaulted their 4-year-old sister and their mom after roofing their drinks. Jesus Christ! If they do that to their own family, they will definitely move on to raping friends or strangers. They need to be locked up or hung. He's in prison now, but while he was awaiting trial at the county jail, I went to visit him after being hired, and he owned up almost instantly. I was on a Greyhound once, and this guy was on the phone casually admitting to have just murdered someone. The driver of the bus pulled over and kicked him off. Was wild LOL. I think I need more details here. That's the whole story. I wish I had more details to share. This girl admitted to killing her baby. She was a young meth addict in Texas. I was a bum traveler at the time, and I think I asked her to for some quick directions around Fort Worth. Anyways, she was walking with me and just admitted that she had a kid, and it died. She literally says, "It pissed me off so bad, I took that thing and shook it." I was 100% thinking, why isn't this bitch in jail? The worst part was, she said it was like her 18th or 19th birthday. Others include murder by beating someone up and pissing on them in the cold, which resulted in death. Another guy said he shot his dog up and was in the woods starving when a poodle came in and they ate it. IDK, how much is true, but it's too crazy to even process in the moment. Is shot his dog up slang for doing I've heard it referred to as dog or dog food a while back. Otherwise, I am very confused by that anecdote. He shot his dog up with heroin. I later heard that he and his friend stabbed a guy in the neck with a rail spike to rob him when train hopping. The body was found by the train tracks, and everyone knew he left with this guy. Had to be the biggest piece of shit I ever encountered. Crazy thing was, before you knew that stuff, he seemed normal enough. I was on the phone with someone. At one point, they started laughing about something during the conversation and said they shit themselves. I thought they were kidding. A couple of minutes later, I heard water going, and I assumed they were washing dishes. The conversation kept going until I still heard water going. At that point, I asked what they were doing, and they said they were washing out their ass because they actually shit themselves. I got off the phone pretty quick after that. It just seemed so strange to keep a phone conversation going while you wash your ass for that long. Worked at a dive shop. We were planning our trips for the next year and the big trip for 2 years away. 160-plus guy said we needed to do our big trip to a resort in the Philippines because there was a club with 16-year-olds nearby to me and the male owner privately. Both of us recently single. He was promptly kicked out and banned from trips. There's some pretty dark stuff that's been posted, so I'll keep it lighter but still weird and creepy. I knew a dude who kept all his boogers. Just kept them in a container. He would pick his nose and kept all his boogers in this jar, and he laughed about it like it was normal. Wholesome content compared to a lot of the shit here. This guy I knew grew up in foster care. He told me his foster mom bred dogs. He told me he used to strangle the puppies to see how long he could do it and see if they would still wake up. I never asked follow-ups because I didn't want to know if he actually killed any. He has a lot of issues now, no surprise. Serial killer. Not me, but my friend was talking to some coworkers about the worst thing they'd ever done. All the stories were pretty tame, until a guy admitted that he'd set fire to and burned down his high school. As long as no one was hurt, this is a dream come true for many a student. That's it for today. Make sure to subscribe and like this video for more Reddit stories.